Man, being in your 20s is something else, bro. You end up learning so many things about life that you just wouldn't know previously. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. There are some people who just somehow learn things at 7 years old and they understand how the world works at that age. But for the vast majority of us, you end up only getting conscious around maybe five. And then around 10, you just worried about school all the way up to your 18 plus, you know? But at the end of the day, bro, you learn a lot in your 20s, and I'm 27, right? But I would argue that you learn more in your 20s than probably any other point in your life, because when you're 20s you start to learn actually how the world works, how the world views you, and what you need to do in the world. Now, there are people who have their lives put together at 18 and even before that, but a lot of us people are going or playing by ear, bro. So today we're going to be talking about that, man. So I'm going to sit here and just say at least five things that I've learned in my 20s personally, and I think that you learn in your 20s as well. So here's number one, bro. You learn that friends come and go, and that's something that's, man, it hits close to home, bro. Because I have friends and I have acquaintances, and then I have coworkers. Now my circle of friends is very small, maybe 10 people, you know, and the circle of friends that I would actually hang out with, that I'm used to hanging out with, literally two people. Now, within those two people, there are a bigger group of circle of friends that end up being about five of us, but a lot of them just aren't here, you know, and some of them just don't hang out like that. They're more focused on their actual life and goals and stuff, or they're just more self, they stick to themselves, not an issue. But other people, man, I've moved around, right? I live in Kansas at the moment, and I used to live in a different city called Wichita. That's where I was born and raised for the most part. But I ended up going back to Wichita, right? And at that point in time, when I went back, I ended up getting a lot of friends, bro. Like a lot more friends. And this is where the friends come and go part comes to, like, understand, bro. So I was hanging out at a friend's house. Back then I did smoke and stuff, smoke weed, and I don't smoke it anymore because it's just not something I need in my life. I think if I get rich, I'll probably start doing it again because I will have the time, but no. Anyways, I did that with my friends, right? And my new friends in Wichita. We hung out, we had a good time. We just did little rap sessions. We just hung out, ate food, laughed, watched anime, whatever, just hanging out. But then my friends over there, I was at their crib and they invited more people. And I didn't know these people, and that's not a problem. But I'm just going to put it like this, man. I bought like $70 worth of some, green, and I brought my PlayStation Vita over because I'm like, why not? And then I end up passing out, falling asleep, and everything's in my bag, bro. Let that be understood. Everything's in my bag, my backpack. Tell me why I wake up, my Vita's gone, and so is my weed. So at that very moment in time, I pretty much lost like $370 plus tax. So that's a lot of money to just lose at a quote unquote friend's house. Now, obviously, it could have just not been that person, that friend, but when I told them about it, all they could do was be like, dang, dude, I don't know what happened, man. Like, I'm sorry for that. And that's, I'm not like expecting him to be like, oh, no, no, everybody don't move, But at the end of the day, it's just you are who you hang out with, bro. And at the end of the day, there's thieves there. And I would highly doubt that that's the first time whoever stole my stuff. I doubt that was the first time they stole something, bro. And for that reason, I had to stop going over there. I had to stop being friends with that person, man, because friends come and go. And I didn't stop being friends like, oh man, I can't mess with you no more. I just stopped showing up because I didn't want my stuff stolen. Now, let me also backpedal a little bit and say that my Vita and my weed was not stolen on the same day. These are two separate occurrences. And it was the second time where I just said, "No, I'm good, dude. I can't keep this up. I can't continue to just go over my friend's house and then be like, yeah, I'm just gonna always casually have something missing when I either wake up or leave. So I was asleep and I was defenseless. So that's a target. And I was asleep, so I have no idea who did it. I can't blame anybody. I'm not even blaming my friend, but what I am saying is that I can't hang around those kinds of people who's going to be around those kinds of people, because I know that there are people out there. I know these people who are out there who don't steal anything ever. You know what I mean? I know people like that. And I knew people like that before that. So when it comes down to like friends come and go, good influences, bad influences, obviously the good influences, if they go and they leave you, then that might mean that you have something to work on. But if it's a bad influence, man, you got to get the heck up out of there, bro. So, man, that's number one, though. We're just going to go straight to number two, bro. Something that I've already talked about a lot, but I'm going to reiterate. Man, jobs, you learn in your 20s that jobs do not give a freak about you unless you are literally the backbone of that company, of that building. You see how that guy killed me? I shot him like 3 times. I just had to, man, come on. I had to point that out. I had a couple of those moments in this gameplay. But anyways, bro, when it comes down to jobs, dude, they obviously don't care about you. And even if you are the backbone of the company, I'm sorry, I was trying my dang hardest not to laugh when that dude fell over like that. I'm sorry. Okay, seriously though, jobs really don't, man. So I'm gonna give my example, bro. So at my job, even my current one right now, there's a whole story I need to tell about that, but I think I deleted that video thinking I already posted it, so I have to tell that story again later. But my job right now, I do the work of at least 2 people on a regular daily basis, and on the other days I do the work of 3 people in my one shift. I don't get 3 people's pay, I just get my pay. That's it. And when I say I do the work of 2 people on a regular daily basis, I literally mean there's another person. I'm a forklift operator, and we operate and we have our aisles given to us. And our assigned aisles are what we're supposed to take care of no matter what. That's what we're supposed to do. That's our job. Simple enough, right? I end up doing this guy's aisles because he's just off somewhere on break, off somewhere in the break room, quite literally in the break room when it's not time for break. He's going, just riding around, doing absolutely nothing, looking busy, but not actually being busy, just riding around on the forklift, just having, taking a cruise, listening to a podcast. And I'm like, dude, you have your aisles, and I don't understand why you're not doing it. And what I really don't understand is why you don't get in trouble. And, excuse me, but jobs, dude, they got rid of me over something that he does on a regular basis. And I'm gonna leave that to his own video, because I did do something wrong when they got rid of me, and I'm back now. But when I say this, bro, oh man, I had to put the video out there. But dude, when I got fired, dude, I really believe that the reason that I got fired was because I told the boss of the business, not the business, but the boss of that building, that there was corruption going on, because one of my friends got fired for being in a beef that he didn't start. That's literally what happened. And I messed up later. And oh man, I don't even want to say it because it's going to be like, well, of course. But I did mess up, and I gave them the actual right to get rid of me by messing up. But I genuinely believe that the reason they actually got rid of me was because someone else, because I stuck up for someone else, is what I'm trying to say. But jobs, man, they don't care about you. If you do real work, it's really unlikely you'll get a raise if it's not mandatory for the business to give it to you. It's really unlikely that you'll get days off if they don't want you to have that day off. And there are times to where you will, call in sick, and they'll get rid of you. But let me give you a better example that doesn't require a whole backstory, right? Every job that I have quit from and put my 2 weeks notice in for, they fired me within 1 week. I believe that it's kind of funny how when I said fire, the explosion happened. But seriously, I genuinely believe that they just couldn't handle the fact that I was willingly leaving, and that they just couldn't handle that. They didn't want to acknowledge that I chose to leave. So they wanted to have the final decision by getting rid of me earlier than I said I was going to leave. And when I say every job, that's just 2 jobs. I worked at an aerospace place where I gave my 2 weeks notice because me and my supervisor had a disagreement, and he threatened me, and I didn't like that. He said, we're going to have to handle it, and I was like, are we? And instead of me saying, "Oh man," backing down, like, "Oh man, please don't," and he was like, "I can't believe he just actually bucked up to me a little bit." Nah, man. And I gave him my 2 weeks notice on his desk, and then a week later, I was gone. And then at Walmart, there was a situation where, man, it was so silly. Me and this old guy, literally, this guy would take 2 hour long breaks, and I did not care. Our job was so easy. We were door greeters, bro. Easiest job. The hardest part about that job was the fact that you had to stand on that hard floor and pacing around. They didn't really want you to do that, but it was hard not to. It's just standing on a hard floor for 8 hours. That's not easy. It's actually easier to walk around and do work than it is to stand still for 8 hours. But that's not the whole thing. The whole thing that happened with that was that he was taking 2 hour long breaks, literally, right? I had no care in the world. But when it was time for my 15, I did take a 30. I took a 30. But then he had a whole issue with that. And the funny thing, let me go ahead and say this too. All the other door greeters, we were like, yeah, let's take 30s. Who cares? You know, it's Walmart. Let's take a 30-minute break. As long as we're getting our work done and we have someone to cover our door, who cares? This guy's taking 2 hours. We don't mind. We don't care. We're not complaining. But then as soon as we start taking 30s, he comes up to me, starts to act like the supervisor, and he's like, "No, you will be here in 15 minutes." Literally yelling at me just because he's older. And I'm like, wow, this guy is actually talking to me crazy. And I'm just going to call him Hank, I guess. I don't want to put his real name out there. But I'm like, "Hank, you're taking 2 hour long breaks. Why are you trying to talk to me like this? Like, you're acting like you don't do the wrong thing. If we were to really report this, you're going to get fired, not me." And then he's like, "Don't worry about me. You will take 15-minute breaks, and whenever you are back, it will be 15 minutes later." And I'm just like, wow, this guy's tripping. I'm like, well, if you really want to go to the supervisor about it, then let's go. We went to the supervisor about it, and nothing happened to him. And guess what happened to me? Nothing. But guess what happened after that? I didn't really feel like working with him anymore because he wouldn't stop his attitude. Because the supervisor did nothing, he felt empowered to continue. Watch this. Watch this. That angered me. When I look at this angered me so much. This computer had absolutely no idea what was happening going forward, and out of nowhere he's like, "Oh, 800. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. I'm gonna do a 1080 and just get this guy." So disrespectful. But I'm sorry. Let me get back to the topic, dude. Yeah, since he felt empowered to go ahead and act the way he was acting, he just kept doing it, and he kept on trying to like make sure. And the funny thing is, we were cool. We were hanging out, not hanging out, but like we were friends. We talked, we chatted, we had a good time. And then out of nowhere, after that little disagreement that we had, he started acting like supervisor, and he started telling us all what to do, what we would do and what we wouldn't do, and when we would do it. And he started to even try to monitor our bathroom breaks and stuff out of nowhere. This dude who takes 2 hour long breaks, who was nice, gentle, and kind, as soon as he gets called out on his stuff because he wants to call somebody else out of the blue. Yeah, we're not cool no more, but I'm actually going to make your job shitty. For that reason, bro, I said, okay, yeah, I think I'm good. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Walmart, and it's not the biggest deal, dude. So what I did, I put my 2 weeks notice in. Guess what happened after that? After 1 week, the supervisor was like, "Yeah, I just took you off the schedule, so you don't have to come in anymore." I'm like, bro, like, I put a 2 weeks in for a reason, so that I could have 2 weeks of pay before I leave. This isn't in the plan to not get a week of pay. Now, luckily, I wasn't struggling for money at that point, but if I were, then I probably would have did something else. I would have fought a little harder, but I just let it go because I'm like, dude, it's whatever. I don't even want to be near you guys, so it's whatever. The headache was a little bit extra. So, yeah, I think, what is that? Just number 2? Hot diggity dog, that is number 2. So, yeah, I think maybe we're going to have to cut it a little shorter. But, look, number 3, though, I'm just going to have to get on with it, bro. This is the good part, though. Number 3, in your 20s, you really do learn that anything is possible. Now, I'm going to tell a story of how I dropped the ball, unfortunately, but anything is possible. I used to work at the Marriott International as a customer service rep who would like literally sell hotel rooms to people. They would just call me and I would book them a room. So that was cool. I guess I talked so well that this one lady literally told me that I could be a speaker and that I should hit her up on LinkedIn. And I actually heard, well, one of my friends, Emmerich's Games, talk about LinkedIn and using it more when he was talking about that with Youlearn. And they had a good chat, and I was like, LinkedIn is pretty good. Anyways, this lady told me about it. She told me to hit her up on LinkedIn that she could get me, something going. We could make some connections. I never did, bro. And for that reason, that's all my fault. I'm not even going to sit here and act like, oh man, I feel so bad for myself. No, I'm just saying, like, anything is possible. And my uncle is actually a public speaker who charges people like thousands of dollars for a couple of hours of their time. He's a life coach and he does charge people for that life coaching. And thousands of dollars? If I was a public speaker, I could only imagine how much do you get paid to speak at certain places. Recently, maybe like last year, I learned that people could actually get like literal $20,000 just to go speak somewhere, just to speak. And I didn't know that at the time. I never took anything seriously back then. So that's, like I said, it's my fault. But it's like, whoa, public speaking can really get you paid like that? Are you kidding me? Yes, it can. So anything is possible. And that's just something I had to really just understand. Like, hey, when you're in your 20s, like you start learning that the rat race is, okay, look, for me, the reason I'm in a rat race is because I didn't take opportunities that were given to me. And that's just a simple fact of life, unfortunately, for me. Because I genuinely do believe that if I were to take the opportunity, my life would have been completely different, you know? Because, like I said, I learned people are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just to talk to people. And I don't mean like YouTube commentary. I mean to go to arenas, like interest bank arenas, and be like, so guys, this is why the taxes are not that great. I don't know, just whatever. Maybe even a motivational speaker, who knows? Regardless of that, anything's possible, dude. You could start a business. You could really like hit it off really well. You could be one of those people who haul trash and get, but like not work for the company, but haul people's personal trash who they have too much stuff in their house. You could get that going. You could probably charge a couple $100, for that kind of stuff, and maybe even do 2 jobs a day. And then there you go. You got 3, 4, $500 a day. Who knows? There's anything's possible, dude. If you actually go out and look for it, you can find it, bro. And that's a really good thing right there. And honestly, that's it. I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie though. I think I'm gonna save the rest for another video because I actually have somewhere to be. I'm supposed to go visit my little sister for her birthday, and she's like 3 hours away from me. So I thought that this would be like a quick 10-minute thing, and it's not. I always have something to say, so I'm really noticing that lately. But no, I really, really appreciate you guys, even taking the time to listen to me yap and stuff. Because, like I said, man, if there's anything in my past that is like a mistake that you could learn from, you know, use it to your advantage, bro. And then if you guys have any comments, any questions about anything, concerns, and you just want to talk about this stuff, go right ahead, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Not everything is terrible, obviously, and I think it's a great part to leave this video at is to say anything's possible, because anything really is possible, bro. You just got to go out and get it. And I'm still looking into this whole community college thing with or maybe even just a certificate, not necessarily the community college. I'm looking at WGU still, trying to get things lined up to see what's realistic. I got another job I'm trying to get because my current one isn't really going to last. I don't believe it is. So with that being said, man, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And with that, I'm going to be up and out of here. Thank you guys. See you later. Have a great day.